Welcome to Vertical Football. Yeah, and this is the five things we learned. Burnley new, Chelsea two. Yeah. So let's go into talking about this match. I think the overall performance was more than average. Yeah, because it was a game of two halves. In the first half, we did not play well. We were played through easily. Our The way we executed our task was not top level. But coming into the second half, there was ginger, there was motivation. We did the right things to do, and we converted our chances. And Burnley in the first half, they really tried their best. They brought the game to us. It was just that up front they didn't create quality chance, and they didn't have any threatening goal scoring opportunity, I would say. But coming into the second half, it was just like we switched shirts and we just took the Burnley spirit that they used in the first half, and then we gave them ours. So let's go into this match. Let's go deep into it. Five things we learn. The number one thing I would say is our execution in this match was below average. Yeah, our execution in this match was below average, and it's coming from the press to the passes to the execution in final third and the reaction of our rest defense. Yeah. So for the press, I think we didn't do it right. Yeah, and we were speaking with the guys in the studio about the first half. When the first half was over and we just came into the second half, we were talking about the press. Like, we were being passive, which to some extent made sense. Like, oh, you are not going to press them on the front foot. You are just going to sit around and make them bring the ball to you. Then you steal it when they lose it. But when you are pressing passively, the idea is to cover spaces. But how come these balls and Burnley are still getting the opportunity to play into those spaces easily, like as if we were never passive in the first place? And it just does not make sense. I think we set up right. The standing and the positioning were all good, but the execution was just wrong. Before they shifted to one side, they have played the ball through the lines, and they really penetrated us. Talking about the press, and I spoke about the passes also. The passes is when we were in the offensive phase, when we are trying to build up. I think we were just kicking the ball around. It was a non-progressive pass, yeah. Because and the progressive pass of a thing, I think there's no good justification to it, because when you go and read stats, or when you go and look up stats, and then you see somebody like Tosin having the best amount of pass, if you are looking at the stat alone and you didn't watch the match to do the eye test, you would believe, oh, this guy had so much influence in the game. And this is not to put him in a bad space, or this is not to put him in a bad light. This is just to call attention to the progressive pass of a thing. I think it's not well justified, because a player can stand here and be passing to his left back and receive the ball back, but because he is moving the ball from one part to another part, it's being called progressive pass, which it does not affect the game in any way. And I'm talking about this passing in Chelsea's ball, in the sense that in this particular match, we were just passing the ball in our defensive third. We didn't really move the ball from the defensive third into the middle phase and into the attacking third, most especially in the first half. Yeah, we didn't really do that so much. So I didn't really like the way we passed the ball in this particular match. We didn't make so much of error while passing the ball, but it was not progressive. So it was more like you were just playing with the ball. You were not doing anything reasonable with the ball. So another thing is the execution in the final third. We didn't really create so much chance in the first half. Yeah, but we got chances when Burnley misplaced passes. Yeah, so there were some times where people like Colin Ugochukwu wants to pass the ball and they just misplace this pass, and we get this ball, move into the final third, and our execution was just poor. And I even saw one with Liam Delap, which I was very, very furious about that one, because we got the ball from a misplaced pass, and the ball was with Liam Delap going in the middle phase of the pitch, moving into the final third. And what I was just thinking is, somebody's running on your left hand side, somebody's running on your right hand side. As an intelligent player, all you need to do is just keep going in the middle phase so that the option remains. But he was just moving to one side, and Jamie Gittins was free on the other side. Find either a flick pass or drop the pass to this other guy and get the cut back, then kick the shot. But he just moved on with himself and kick it into the air, which I feel like it didn't really make sense. Our execution in the final third, coming from misplaced passes, did not really make sense. We should have taken opportunities of those things. And lastly, about the execution, I want to speak about the rest defense. I think our rest defense, we have one of the best rest defense structure, like having a 3 at the back, or sometimes having 2-2, or sometimes having 3-1. But the execution just it does not make sense. Like, these players don't know when to react. You just get passes over them, and all of a sudden they just have to start chasing the player. I think something needs to be done. Probably we will not necessarily stand maybe we will not be picking the last man, or just get very deep or come close to the halfway line, so that maybe when the pass comes, the player will definitely be in the offside. Something just needs to be done with the rest defense, most especially with the execution of our rest defense. So I rest my case on the execution thing. And let's go into the second thing. This is one of the worst build-up I've seen Chelsea play in this season. Yeah, I think the build-up in the first half, most especially, was very, very shambolic. Getting into the second half, I think I just understood the psychology around how they wanted to build up. So in the first half, we built up in a way that we were very slow with the way we wanted to build up. We were very relaxed. And so Burnley had the opportunity to take shape, and they didn't really block the whole thing. In the first half, they were kind of like defending against us with a 4-3-3. So only when we move into their attack, into the middle phase of the pitch, that's when they switch and go like dynamically into a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1. But they were coming into us with a 4-3-3. It's easy for you to put ball through in a 4-3-3. But I think we were really, really relaxed about it, and it didn't make us create anything in the first half. The majority of chances that we got in the first half was from misplaced passes, and it just in the defensive space, because that's where we build up. The quality of passes, I think, was a problem. The intensity, most especially, I believe that was the main problem, because you get some passes where Tosin is trying to pass the ball to Chalobah or give a straight pass down to Cucurella, but you can see the body language when he drops the pass, like he kicks the ball with the intention, like, slow the ball down. That's like what you can interpret, because when you want a pass to keep going, there is this punch that you give on the ball. You punch the ball, the other person know, this is force, and let me keep the force moving like that. But when you see a person pass the ball like they are just eating it with a slow-mo, you know, like, okay, he wants me to relax with the ball and just keep it moving gently and gently. And that did not help us in the first half. We got the go out of nowhere, but the build-up was not the best. It was not the best. We were not ambitious with the passes. We didn't attempt line breaking passes where we could get the ball into the middle phase of the pitch and just do something out of that. I think we didn't really do well in that phase. But coming into the second half, that's when I understood the psychology behind it. So the psychology behind it is we don't want to sell ourselves to this guy. We don't want the match to be too intense, because if you're thinking long term, you're thinking about Barcelona, you're thinking about Arsenal, which is like we always say, win this one first, then go into the next one. But at the same time, you need to put the other ones into consideration. So I understood, okay, we want to manage this game physically. We don't want to get into a battle with these guys. And also, we wanted to bait them into us. But I think they gave us the reverse side of it. They intentionally did not come, so they just stayed passively in the way they are and just moved in units. And I think they eventually bought into it. After the first goal came up, they opened up and we played through them easily. So I understood in the second half the idea of the build-up. But I think in the first half, that was one of the worst build-up I've ever seen in this club. So let's go into the third thing. I think the third thing I want to it's just they were players with standout performance for me. Yeah, the guys, they tried their best. They were good performances, but they were standout performances for me. And then three people in Andre Santos, Enzo Fernandez, and João Pedro. I would have put Pedro Neto, but Pedro Neto I just want to put in different space. But because there are things that I saw, I felt like these guys really, they did so much. They did well in the match. Did massively well in the match. Coming from Andre Santos, offensive duty, he didn't really get so much involved because he played more like the Caicedo role. So he was just holding that place, and in the defensive phase, it was top notch for us. He breaking the pass, yeah, breaking the opponent's build up when they are trying to get into our defensive third. He's there, he's breaking those passes, intercepting passes when the defender are trying to come into that space. He's going there, making some very dangerous tackle. Puts himself in a whole lot of dangerous situation in this particular match. I think it's just kudos to the guys. He really played that Caicedo well. That Caicedo's role, he really played it superbly. He played it well. Yeah, and going to Enzo Fernandez, I think we so much underrate the impact that this guy brings into the team. Yeah, and I know I'm saying it for the 1000th time, though off screen. On screen, I don't really say so much about it, but I'm a big fan of Enzo Fernandez, what he brings into the team. In this particular match, you see how he links everybody up. Is that guy who goes around to form the triangle to get the bounce passes. The triangle on the left-hand side, you find Enzo. On the right-hand side, rather, you find Enzo Fernandez there. And sometimes, again, you even see him come to the left-hand side and form the triangle with Cucurella and Jamie Gittins up front. You just see this guy is versatile. He brings a whole lot into this club in the back end. Like if you don't pay attention to things, you will not necessarily see what this guy does. And I think it's high praises from me for Enzo Fernandez. I really appreciate how much his work ethics, the ground he covers, even arriving in the box, and to crown the whole thing up in this particular match, he got a goal, and I'm just so happy for him. I just hope he keeps up that performance and even gets better, because this is definitely not his ceiling. So to the last person, João Pedro, I like what I saw in this particular match, coming deep with the freedom that he has gotten, being the number 10 guy, leaving the front space for Liam Delap, him coming deep into the Chelsea's own half to get the ball, to make turns, to share, to link up, to move ball, progress the ball, do dribbles and move. Like, it's superb for me. It's superb for me. It's superb for me. The way there is this, we don't really get so much dribble in Chelsea, but with João Pedro, when he's really active, coming deep to get the ball, you see more of that. Manipulate this one, do a very nice turn, drop the pass for this guy, collect in the next place, move on into the attacking phase of the pitch, and just keep doing all these things, rinse and repeat. I think João Pedro really had a good match in my viewpoint. Yeah, so I think it's all praises for this guy, praises for every other person. Cucurella, Jamie Gittins with the assists, Pedro Neto, Liam Delap can have his own bad times too, but I think he did fantastic. He did very well in the match. So let's go into the fourth thing. I think the fourth thing for me is a complaint, or not a complaint, just to bring out the old same issues which we have been talking about, is having a game of two halves. I think it's becoming a norms in the club, and it makes no sense. It is not something that we should condone in this particular club. You cannot be in the level of Chelsea and be having a game of two halves. You have to approach every half of the game with the same standard. Yeah, and one thing I want to pin this thing on, I think, is mental for me. Yeah, and why do I say it's mental? Because it comes from a place of, let's see what happens in this half, and it tells us how we will approach the next half. I feel like that's basically what Chelsea is doing. Yeah. So when they have a good first half, they go into the second half and they relax. There are exceptions in some games, but you find out it's still the reverse case. When we have a very bad first half, then we go into the second half and we are playing like we were never the one who played the first half. I think it's something that needs to stop in this club. We need to play football for 90 minutes, and playing football for 90 minutes does not necessarily mean you keep half standard here and keep you play on the same standard, and even if it is going to drop, it should not be dropping drastically. Yeah, and I don't think it makes sense to be playing football one half, then after you have played this one half, you see how bad you are, then you are trying to sit up in the second half. There are some times where you get into a match and you play this particular half, but because you are very sloppy and you are not at your best, the opponent will hurt you so much that in the second half you will not be able to recover from it. Yeah, so I think this particular trend of having to play two halves in every game, it needs to stop. We need to play the game from the beginning to the end with the same standard. Yeah, that's a lot to ask, but it is possible. Yeah, teams do that, and I think that's the level that we should aim off. We need to break this mental barrier and get out of this phase. So to the last thing, it's just nothing much. I just think is a cheer up to the guys. We have very, very important games coming up. Every game is important, but we have ones that are, let me just use the word tougher games. Yeah, games that are very tough, of where the quality that you are going to play against in these next two matches is something of a different level. Yeah, it's something of a different level. So you're playing against the Burnley side, and okay, in the right back, they are in the attacking phase, they are not that good. So there are going to be relaxation for the guys there. But going into these particular matches that we are speaking about in Barcelona and in Arsenal, the quality is top notch in every position on the pitch. So when you slack in one position, you get beaten. When you slack in one position, you get hurt. So it's just a call, it's just a shout out, it's just a cheer up to the guys. You just get your trainings right, get your mind in the right spaces, psych yourself up to be ready for this match, and just go into it and play like you are Chelsea. Yeah, go into it and play like you are Chelsea. Keep the head up. Avoid anything that can bring you down during the training session, during your normal routine days. Just get yourself ready. Get yourself ready. Play the game for 90 minutes, and I believe it's going to be victory if we do all things right, depending on even what the opponent brings into the game. Yeah, so this is just my own 5 things for this particular match. Yeah, this is Chelsea 2, Burnley 0, brought to you by Vertical Football. What do you guys think about this particular match? Please put it in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's analyze it. What are things that you see that we can improve on, or what are things that you saw that was good? Please pinpoint it in the comment section and let's have a chat about it. So we see you some other time. Namaste.